Beat the Odds, an NFL gambling show here with BTO Media. Michael Merlo, Beau Dragone here with you as we recap week 3 in the NFL, how our picks did. We're going to go through everything. We're going to dissect everything because, Beau, we have to be better. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Sunday Night Football game and, of course, give picks on what is the best Monday Night Football game of the year so far and maybe of the entire season. Beau, how are you doing today?
I'm great, but we could be way better. Look at these records: 3-6 with 7 points, 4-5 with 11 points. Mike, what are we doing?
It's embarrassing.
Better than this? What are we doing?
It's very embarrassing. It was a tough day yesterday. You know, we were head to head on a pick, and you got the best of me there with the Titans and the Colts. I thought that was just a bad line. I thought the Titans were going to fight. I thought the Titans were going to have a chance to win late. And the complete opposite happened. And, you know, you went with your Giants, our Giants, and that was a really bad game. That was a really bad showing. Although early it looked like they had a chance to cover that.
Yeah, I thought they honestly, I mean, if you think about it, earlier in the game before the Chiefs scored the touchdown, like they were in that game. They were 100% in that game, and then the Chiefs scored the touchdown late. But if the Giants had a kicker, or if they scored one touchdown, they'd be covering automatically. So, it's a close game. I didn't think, honestly, 22-9 is basically what we thought was going to happen. I mean, I know I took them to cover, but it's not far off of like realistic. Like, this is probably what the game's going to look like.
Are you making excuses for them? Like, is that an excuse for them? Like, genuinely? Because I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm so sick and tired of watching this team and watching this franchise. I mean, clearly, week 2 was an aberration. Clearly, the Dallas defense is just that bad. Like, this offense is so inept, and I've always been a Brian Daboll defender, always. But I can't get up for this guy anymore. I can't sit here and defend this guy. I mean, you have weapons. You had an offensive line blocking last night, and what the hell is going on? What the hell happened last night? Why are guys not open? Why can't you get it to your star wide receiver? I don't understand what's going on here.
No, I don't. And I'm with you on that 100%. I love Brian Daboll. I think he's a great guy, but I also thought Joe Judge was a great guy. So what does that mean? Brian Daboll can't manage games. Maybe he can develop quarterbacks. Maybe, without play calling, he has less on his table so he can do more in the locker room or during practice or whatever. But when it comes game time, he can't manage a game. And that's why maybe he'd be better back in his old role as a offensive coordinator or a quarterbacks coach or whatever. Because I think him and Dart, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that facility every single day, but it seems like they have a really good connection. Maybe that's just Brian Daboll trying to keep his job for next year. I don't know. I think he's gone no matter what at this point, Mike. This is embarrassing, though, especially on Sunday Night Football, when not having a kicker right before the game has happened not once, not twice, but 3 times in this Giants past couple of years. So right before the game, Graham Gano goes down. You don't even know if he can kick until halftime because his warm-ups were late or he didn't really warm up that well. I don't even know what happened. Like, that's embarrassing. But they were still somehow in the game. It's a game they should have won. There were 2 fumbles, both recovered by the Chiefs. Like, the Giants have to get those fumbles, especially the one that Patrick Mahomes recovered. That could have been a touchdown, that one. That could have been a defensive touchdown. And then also the Russell Wilson 2 interceptions. He had a 6.5 quarterback rating. 6.5. What are we doing? And I'm not saying start Dart because I wouldn't want to start him against the Chargers. But he has to start against the Saints. At this point, he has to.
Right. And that sequence in the fourth quarter there when they were down all those points and it was first down, second down, third down, and he's throwing the football away, not even giving his receivers chances at the goal line. I mean, that was just embarrassing. I mean, I've never seen a sequence like that in my life from inside the 10-yard line, goal to goal. I just, like, again, they are one of the worst red zone teams I've ever seen in my entire life. When you get inside the 10, you know you're going to be able to stop them. Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid knew last night that all they had to do was really just kick a couple of field goals, play good defense, and they were going to win that football game. There was no doubt about it. And that's exactly what they did last night. And it was embarrassing. It was, I understand that they were in the game for a little bit and the defense showed up. I get that. And the defense, when you're on the field for that long, is not going to continue to play that well. But man, like it is just, I'm not sitting here happy this morning. I'm not sitting here taking any sort of moral victory in the fact that you were close with them for a little bit. I'm not saying the Giants should have won the game, but man, it's just frustrating to watch that offense over and over again.
Yeah, and the other frustrating part, it was our Sunday night parlay, Mike. We went 0 for 4.
We went 0 for 4. Kelsey didn't get to 40?
No, Kelsey got, 26 on 4 receptions.
Wow.
So Mahomes we had for 25 rushing yards. He got 2. And that's crazy because he's the team's leading rusher, whatever. Giants run defense sucks. He got 2. The one positive, they only held the Chiefs to 105 rushing yards, which somehow that's a positive for them. Yeah. But they only allowed just over 300 yards, which is also a positive. Anyways, moving on from that. Kelsey, yeah, he got 26. We had him at 40 plus.
Okay.
We had Russell Wilson at over 226.5 passing yards. Close. He got 160. And then Wandale we had at 50 receiving yards, and he had 1 reception of 26 yards. And he was targeted on a deep route that would have hit that, but it was intercepted because Wandale didn't cut back in and try to jump for the ball. Instead, he watched the ball get intercepted. So, 0 for 4. That's by far our worst Sunday Night Football parlay yet. We're gonna act like it didn't happen. What'd you say, Mike?
How do we do in the 2-minute drill?
Let's see. So Jordan Mason, we had an anytime touchdown. He hit
scored.
That. He scored. By the way, one of the best backup running backs in football. I love Jordan Mason.
Bunk called him a top 7 running back in the league last night, by the way.
Bunk did?
Yeah.
Top 7.
Top 7 running back in the league. Swear to God.
Dude, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that, though. It really is. I don't know.
I might disagree with it. I don't know, though. He won me a
fantasy. I mean, I'd have to write it out, but that's a good argument. Bunk is trying to make headlines here, but I like it, honestly. A.J. Brown, 50 receiving yards. He killed that, finally. I have him in fantasy, and he's been ass. So
who was it? A.J. Brown? Oh, he went
AJ
over,
Brown.
right. Yes, he had a big game.
Yeah. Amari and Hampton, we took the under 38.5 rushing yards. I think he got 100, so that didn't happen.
No.
Or he got 80. He killed that.
You love the unders, man. You love the unders.
Yeah, because nobody bets them. It's I have to bet them. And then
I don't do it on player props. I'll never do unders on player props. I don't know why. Yeah. I just refuse to.
Well, because explosive plays, you don't know what could happen. But yeah, Amari and Hampton, he sucked the last 2 weeks. I mean, the team was going through Justin Herbert, so it's there's not really a role for him. And then of course Najee goes down. And then we had Tyler Warren anytime touchdown, which he had a pretty good game, but he didn't get a touchdown.
He didn't get it.
Yeah.
Let's go through more of our picks before we get to the Monday Night Football game, which I'm super pumped for. I had the Bears. Before we get to the Texans-Titans game, I had the Bears yesterday, okay? And the Bears did a freaking job against those Dallas freaky Cowboys.
Yeah, they did. Caleb Williams.
This is an unbelievable
300 yards.
This is an unbelievable comment.
Oh God, Luke. Why'd you handle that?
That's an unbelievable. I'm not handling anything. That's an unbelievable comment.
You're not going to mention. You're going to take that. You're just going to sit there and watch.
It's 0-2, 0-3, 0-2. But it's
0-2 in fantasy championships. Seriously?
Yeah. Including all my leagues, 0-3.
Mike, that's terrible.
Yeah. Made the fantasy baseball championship though last night. Big time.
Wow.
Big
so
time,
proud of you, dude.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for that. Really pumped for that.
I've never played a full season of fantasy football. So that actually, yeah, you managed to switch out your pitches every single day. Good for you.
Yeah, we're on top of it.
Okay, good.
I had the Bears. What a game from Caleb. What a game from Ben Johnson. Did you see Ben Johnson after the game getting hyped in the locker room? They were pumped, and it was a good all-around game. That Dallas defense is terrible, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They are awful. And the Dallas Cowboys lost CeeDee Lamb in the middle of this game, and he may not play next week. Nobody knows yet, but that's a huge loss, and Dallas literally cannot move the ball at all if CeeDee Lamb's not on the field. Javonte Williams came back down to earth last night. So it was a coming to earth moment, I think, for the Dallas Cowboys. Offensively, they are not that good, and defensively, we know how bad they are. It showed up against the Chicago Bears, who get right against Cowboys.
Yeah, the funny thing is that this Bears defense sucks too, and the Cowboys only scored 14 on them. Yeah, they didn't have CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah.
but the Bears didn't have Jalen Johnson. He's now on the IR, and there's a couple other injuries there. So I think it's pretty hilarious, just because the Bears beat the Cowboys 31-14. Yeah, a couple interesting notes to go over for this game. Caleb had a game, 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, just about. A near perfect passer rating. He had an 86.6 quarterback rating. So love that. The run game wasn't there. They were just passing the ball over the field. They had let Caleb's kind of take that game away, tear up that secondary, that Dallas terrible secondary. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they can't move the ball without CD, and Cowboys suck. That even tells you more that the Giants should have killed them last week. But
there were a lot of open receivers for Caleb yesterday. And I don't want to take anything away from Caleb. He played well. But there were a lot of open receivers, wide open receivers for Caleb. Almost all the touchdowns were wide open receivers. The flea flicker, he was wide open. It was a good throw, too. The touchdown to Roma Dunze, he was wide open. So lots of open guys for Caleb. That's the one thing I'll say about his day. Not like totally impressed by him, but it's a step in the right direction.
And they couldn't get any pressure on Caleb either. He was barely pressured. He had no sacks taken. So it's like,
well, their pass rush is awful.
Yeah, it is. Like, you can't win games against quarterbacks that can sit in the pocket and just throw the ball over the field like that. I mean, you're not going to win a single game like that.
No, he was totally comfortable. And then move over to this game that I lost. I mean, oh my God. The Broncos are up 7 points late in this game. They're up 7 late in this game. And thank God, at least on my FanDuel account, I had a nice 4-leg parlay. And the Broncos were in there at +3. So I pushed, and I still took some money home, but it wasn't as much as it was going to be if the Broncos would have covered 3 and won the game or whatever, covered 3. They pushed, so still made some money, not going to be too greedy, but a bad loss for Denver, who's up late in this game, who really could have taken advantage and moved into a tie or taken the lead, actually, in the AFC West. Instead, they moved to 1-2, and the Chargers seem as though they are running away with this division. Justin Herbert made an unbelievable play. Dan Orlovsky had a nice little breakdown of it yesterday where he escaped pressure in the pocket, rolled out to his left, and threw a ball off balance, off his back foot, and a dot to, I think it was to Keenan Allen. Just an unbelievable play. Herbert solidifying himself, as the 5th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, Chargers are really pulling away now. And it's scary because I also did have the Broncos at +3. I took them late Saturday night, maybe Sunday morning at +3 on FanDuel. So that did help because they did push. But Broncos should have won this game.
Yep.
Chargers looked terrible in the beginning. They were getting to Justin Herbert a lot. He took 5 sacks. And that Broncos defense finally was what they were supposed to be, at least what they were last year. With Pat Surtain as the defensive player of the year, and then Nick Bonito and everybody else in that defense. That's a great defense. And they got to play like that again if they want to be in games and win them. It's a tough game for the Broncos because the Chargers were on a heater. And it's another divisional game that the Chargers win. That's 3 straight divisional games that they win, going 3-0 in the division to start. That's huge for them. Hampton had 70 yards, by the way, on 19 carries and a touchdown. So good for him. He'll get a lot bigger of a workload now with Najee down.
Yeah, that was sad.
And yeah, it was sad. But Justin Herbert again, 300 yards, he threw an interception. He took 5 sacks though, so that's a little tough. You can't win every single game taking 5 sacks, even if you're Justin Herbert. But he turned it around. Was able to win. I don't know if the Chargers should have won this game though, but the spread was right there. I mean, they do it every single week. They get the spread, they hit the head right on the hammer with that.
Yeah, spread. They nailed it. They nailed that spread 100%. Yeah. Let's move quickly before we go to Monday Night Football. The Eagles and the Rams, what a great game. The Eagles are down big in this game early, and the Rams really just kind of let this one get away from them. I was very impressed with the Rams early, but to lose this game, even though you were on the road, that's tough. You're setting up for the game-winning field goal. It gets blocked earlier in that quarter. You had another field goal get blocked by Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. So a very frustrating loss for the Rams, but I just think it proves again that the Rams can play with this team. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC, but the Rams can very easily play with this team and can beat them on any given day.
I agree. You can't let this final score fool you just because of the last touchdown at the very end. It was a very close game. Rams gave it up. I do have questions about Stafford still. I don't know if I mean he's past his prime, obviously. We know that. He can still whip the ball out there and get it to his receivers and do his job. But it's going to take that Rams defense to really step in for a full 60 minutes like they didn't. They let A.J. Brown take the game away from them. And Jalen Hurts, too. I mean, Jalen had a great game. And, it's a little bit surprising or it's a little bit scary, whichever word you want to use. But, yeah, don't let the final score fool you. The Rams were, they lost by 1, really.
Yeah,
so it's a scary game. Yeah, it's good for the Rams. Yeah.
Could you imagine having the Rams plus 3.5?
No, I didn't take them, dude. I was scared of that pick, but I would have felt confident about it the entire game. And then that was probably the bad beat of the week right there.
That's one of the worst beats I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
that might be one of the worst beats I've ever seen in my life. That was awful. Yeah, but Jalen was great. Jalen was great yesterday. A.J. Brown, great. And they did a really good job, the Rams, against Saquon Barkley. He was really quiet in that one. Okay, Bub, before we get out of here, time for the Monday Night Football game. This is an unbelievable game. The Ravens, let me just make sure the spread is still the same at 4.5. The Ravens are favored by 5.5. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites at home against the Detroit Lions. Bo, I love the Ravens here. I love the Ravens. This is a team that when they are favored, especially at home, they cover the spread. Let me just get a couple of stats for you. Since 2019, the Ravens are 4-0 against the spread when favorites of 3.5 or more. They do a great job covering John Harbaugh. When he is favored to win the game, they win the game. And it's just what they do. So I think this team is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the entire league. I think that the Ravens will show up. I think it's a little sketchy that this Detroit Lion team, as good as they are getting 5.5 points. Yes, again, in Baltimore, but 5.5 points is a lot. So give me the Ravens minus the 5.5. I think Lamar and Derrick Henry have big, big games, and the defense is going to show up as well, shutting down Jared Goff. You're getting Jared Goff outside as well. So I'll take the Ravens minus the 5.5.
Yeah, I like that. There's a couple tough things to go along with that, as in Madubuike is out, their defensive lineman, defensive tackle. And also Kyle Van Noy is out. So the Ravens defense, they already give up the most passing yards per game at 298 a game. That's 32nd in the league. Meanwhile, I will add the Lions offense 4th in passing yards per game at 267. So big mismatch there. We'll see if Jared Goff can sling it. With Madubuike out, they're not going to get that much pressure as they normally would. Same with Kyle Van Noy, who gets a couple sacks a year. I can't take the Lions in this game because they looked horrible week 1, and they beat up on a terrible Bears defense in week 2. So I can't take the Lions, especially at 5.5. It was 4.5 when we started recording, by the way, so that's insane.
It was.
Yeah, it was. So the only way to beat this Ravens defense, which is so good and has stars everywhere, is to spread the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown had like 3 touchdowns last week. Then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, good O-line, whatever. You have receivers, you have tight ends in Sam Laporta, and obviously Jared Goff. So it's very possible that the Lions win this game or cover. I do feel like the Ravens are getting a little bit more, not in value, but they're being overrated a little bit in this game, or they're getting a little bit more credit for what they've been doing. And the Lions are getting less just because they had pretty much a bad game and then a good game against a horrible team. So I will stick with the Ravens minus 5.5, but it's scary because this Lions team, even their defense, has stars all over the field. But I'm gonna stick with Ravens minus 5.5. Yeah, I like that.
I remember a couple of years ago they played a very similar game. I think it was this exact game, and the Ravens were big favorites at home, and the Lions were really the top of their game. Both coordinators, obviously, and the spread was like 5.5, 6 points, and I looked at it and I was like, well, this is weird. This is really weird. The Lions are one of the best teams in football. Yes, the Ravens are too, but like 5.5, 6 points, a lot. And I ended up taking the Ravens, and the Ravens absolutely stomped on the Lions that day. It was literally a blowout. It was a 1 o'clock game. It was a blowout. Now it's a standalone game. I think the Ravens do cover this, especially in prime time. Beau, that is going to do it for us. A quick recap. We will be back Thursday giving out our week 4 best bets. We are going to do better for the people, we promise. And we're very excited about that. Some great games coming up this weekend, including a nice 1 o'clock slate led by the Eagles and the Bucks. Eagles cannot win in Tampa Bay. That'll be at 1. And the Sunday night game, Micah Parsons returns to Dallas, Packers, Cowboys. So super pumped for that. We back next week. Check out all the other content on BTO Media. Pretty sure there's going to be a Burrows, our New York baseball show. That'll be out on Tuesday. We'll do it live on YouTube. Super pumped for that. The Mets are dead. The Yankees aren't. And we'll talk to you guys later in the week.